In this module, we're going to look at how to deal with negotiations. You're a negotiator. You play a vital role in making sure that correct descriptions and the right information is passed to buyers and tenants throughout the process. So you will pass on details of brochures. You'll discuss properties with potential buyers, potential tenants. You'll carry out viewings. You'll follow up things after a viewing. You will follow up things all the way through to a tenancy starting and all the way through to a purchase taking place. So you play this vital role in ensuring that the right information is provided. And at every stage you have to get this right. If you provide any misleading or false information, then potentially an offence is committed. So I'm going to guide you through what you need to do and what you need to be aware of as you go through that process. The regulations that we're talking about here are the Consumer Protection from Unfair Trading regulations. And just so that we're clear, there are 3 offences that you can commit. The first one is giving false or misleading information about a property. The second one is ensuring that you provide the right basic information to a buyer and a tenant to ensure they're well aware of the property that they're getting involved with. And the third thing is that you provide all the material information that they require. That includes the detrimental information, so that nobody enters into a tenancy or buys a property without fully being aware of all the situations. The first thing you should do is familiarise yourself with the property details. There will be basic property information in the property file. You should be well aware of what's in there. Read the property details from start to finish so that you can provide the right information to your buyer or to your tenant. Type of property is it? What is the location? Numbers of bedrooms, etc. all have to be passed on to buyers, to tenants, so they're well aware of the situation. And so you have to act in a diligent way when making these decisions about giving descriptions and information. This is known as due diligence or professional diligence. With this due diligence process in mind, you should ensure that you provide information that is accurate and doesn't go against anything that's in the property particulars, or provide any information that would embellish that information and potentially provide misleading information. If it isn't in the property details, it's probably not information that you should be disclosing. It would be acceptable for you to refer to the property details and pass on information from those property details, but again, no embellishment of it. Remember, there are times when you're asked questions and you don't know the answers, and it is quite acceptable to say, I don't know the answer, I'll have to find out, I'll get back to you on that issue. Negotiators can make simple mistakes by making assumptions. If you're asked a question about the tenure of a property and it doesn't happen to be available, you might assume that because you've marketed other properties in that area that everything is freehold. It may turn out that it isn't, and that assumption has created a problem. So make sure no assumptions are made. Maybe that you're asked a question about whether a boiler has been serviced or not. You might make an assumption about that. It might be wrong. It might end up with a situation where you've committed an offence and an interview takes place and trading standards officers want to prosecute the company because of that description. So ensure you're not making any assumptions, and I'll re-emphasise, professional diligence is very important. Don't forget that misdescriptions can be made during conversations, and there will be criminal offences if you give false or misleading information. The fact that it's verbal doesn't mean to say the regulations don't apply. Trading standards have taken action against agents for giving verbal descriptions that were false. The Property Ombudsman has awarded compensation where a description was verbal. So make sure you're on the ball and make sure you're professionally diligent throughout the process. If additional information is requested by a buyer or a tenant, then it's professionally diligent for you to refer it on to someone else. You might refer it on to your manager. You might pass a buyer on to a solicitor and say this is information that the solicitor needs to provide that you don't have. but make sure you're very clear about not providing information where you don't have confirmation of that description. Also remember that clients are not always trustworthy, and you shouldn't be accepting information from clients necessarily. If there's any other way of checking it, then you should be checking it. You should be questioning everything that you're told by a landlord, everything that you're told by a seller, if you ask them for information and clarification about a situation. And if there is any other way of checking it, then make sure you use it.